Now, what's the key thing that needs to happen with a Black Panther game mechanically? Like, I feel like he's got a pretty well-rounded bit of abilities. You know, it's hand-to-hand combat. He can climb stuff. He's a genius. What else he got going on?
I mean, got the tech. There's the gear. You've got to have the technology of Wakanda. It's got to feed into every element of his abilities and his gameplay.
Yeah.
It's got to be used to strengthen him and stuff like that.
Wakanda tech is like that's like a nice little kind of loophole for really doing whatever the hell you want in a video game capacity. Like anytime it's like, oh, this is just future tech that exists. You know, you've got vibranium. You can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yep.
Get weird. There's your upgrade system right there.
I mean, maybe just like the idea that vibranium like absorbs hits, so there's some sort of risk reward where you want to get hit a certain amount of times.
That could be cool.
Yeah,
I like that idea a lot. Yeah, but yeah, this is definitely a long ways off. So I'm dying to hear more about it. But the kind of vibe I've gotten is that this is something that EA kind of announced mostly to drum up interest because they're staffing up for it. They're not like getting ready to show off a trailer. I think they're probably just getting more people on board to get it out the door. So then again, Comic-Con is moments away, so maybe we'll see something from it there. I would definitely hope for that. Now, this is actually the second EA game that we know about based on a Marvel Comics property. They've teamed up with Marvel Games. We've heard that they have at least 3 games coming down the pipe, which is interesting. There's also the EA mode of Iron Man, which seems pretty self-explanatory, like I feel like we have a good idea of what an iron, like
that'll be their roguelike. There we go.
You think so?
No.
Just get stuck with a different suit every time you go out the door.
I mean, actually that would be kind of cool, kind of like how Jedi Survivor had the roguelike modifier when you die in New Game Plus, and it just changes your whole aesthetic. That'd be cool to have in Iron Man. Makes sense, he's got enough suits.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that you get the speed of Iron Man, like I think it's very easy to, if you do the kind of clunky, slow War Machine approach, like that's not really, like you gotta fly around, but then that kind of screws up the whole scale. I don't know what that's going to be. But yeah, so we've got that. We've got Black Panther. What do we think EA's next Marvel game could be or should be? Here's what we have right now. Like, here's what Marvel Games has effectively put out on the market since sort of restructuring and kind of defining what they're trying to do. We've gotten Spider-Man from Insomniac, plus Miles and Spider-Man 2 around the corner. Clearly those have gotten pretty much everything right that they could. There's also Marvel's Avengers. We don't need to talk about that too much. There's Guardians of the Galaxy, which was phenomenal, and we should all be talking about that more. Sadly, like I love how that's like that's regularly, if on like those Reddit threads, they're like, what's the most underrated game of this year? And people are like, Guardians of the Galaxy, and everyone's like, but everyone loved it. And it's like, well, that doesn't, it still didn't.
Yeah, just because it has good buzz, word of mouth, it doesn't mean that it was like rated highly among the masses.
Yeah.
So
and then there's Midnight Suns, which is, I feel like, a similar vibe, like, which is an odd sort of problem to be in, where it's, and then again, I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy and the sort of approach they took with Midnight Suns are both in the more kind of offbeat corner of Marvel space. Like, they're not your conventional sort of approach to superheroes or a superhero game. We're getting Wolverine again. I think we have a vague idea of what that's going to be. There's the
puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Puzzle game.
Cookie collector.
Yes.
Yeah, Henry Hatsworth, both Wolverine.
There's going to be the Captain America game from Amy Hennig, which also has...
It's going to be a racing game. It's like just downhill sledding.
Uncarded. There it is. No, that's a different publisher.
Yes.
That's going to be Skydance New Media. So I don't think that's going to have a connection to this Black Panther game, but I could be wrong. That would kind of surprise me. I feel like
it'd be really weird to see a connection storyline wise between those two, because I mean, it also depends on the time period, because I believe the Amy Hennig one is set in older times, where we haven't got a time frame for this new one, but it feels like they're going for more current, just based on how they're writing it up.
Yeah.
The logo.
And then there's, obviously the upcoming Black Panther game. And I feel like that's a pretty good, variety of different Marvel characters and different sort of, Marvel IP. But Jordan, let's start with you. What if you could just sort of fill that gap with one more AAA Marvel game from EA? What do you think fits there?
Well, if we're limiting ourselves to EA, I think it's time to bring back Marvel Nemesis: Rise of the Imperfects.
Ooh.
If anyone remembers that game, it was very bad.
It was.
They made up all their weird nonsense like fanfic characters to fight.
Was that? Oh my God! Was that the?
It had like the green cover.
Was that the Silicon Knights one?
No, that's X-Men Destiny.
X-Men
which is also
Destiny.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that was yes.
That was also one where you
That was one where you created your own.
yeah. My
hero.
favorite thing about X-Men is not being one of the X-Men, not could be Insomniac.
Right. I'm John McClane's buddy.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that was
But yeah, no, Marvel Nemesis was like an arena fighter.
wow.
And it was not great.
Okay. All right. That's a
I got a lot of trade-ins on day 2 of this game being out back in the
cool
day.
boy. Jada, what about you? We've definitely talked about sort of our wish list thing, but I think it's fair to kind of look at this and be like, what is a valid, like, what's a popular enough Marvel IP that could, exist in this, AAA space?
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, Max. I need to see Blade, and I want to see Respawn take that on. They've done an amazing job when it comes to sword combat with Star Wars. And yeah, lightsaber swords, basically the same kind of thing.
What are you talking about? They're different on a they're the same.
But yeah, and they've got the platforming down that Blade would use. They started introducing magic and stuff into Star Wars with Marin and such. So they've got kind of a handle on some of that type of things that could work with portals and such. There's a lot of stuff, and I think Blade is very ripe for the picking right now.
Yeah, I think there's also a thing where an M-rated superhero thing or M-rated thing is much more acceptable in a video game space than an R-rated movie is in theaters.
I mean, and we're getting Wolverine. We know Wolverine's gonna be R for most likely, hopefully,
which is good. I mean, and then again, Blade is one of the sort of big. When we heard that Disney was scooping up various IP, it's like, okay, how exactly are they going to handle? Let's see,
there we
Blade.
go. Yep, this is what I want. I just
Punisher,
want this remastered
and Deadpool. Just make Blade. Just make Blade.
Yeah,
sure.
The wall running and trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah,
there you go. Yep.
Some MFers are always trying to do it. Maybe that's it. It's a skating game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rollerblade. No.
It's that new SSX starring Blade.
That's what they've been trying to work on this new skate game, and it's just going to be Blade on a skateboard slaying vampires with his.
There's like a dude in like the New Warriors who skateboards, I think. Which his name's like Vigilante or something.
Something like that. I haven't.
Like that. He's got a skateboard and nunchucks. Seems cool. I don't really see that being a thing.
That sounds like a Ninja Turtle to me.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think a Ghost Rider game would be really cool. Ghost Rider again is one of those it's like how do you do? It's kind of a culty. It's like a little bit dark for like the typical sort of MCU space. They did that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had Robbie Reyes. They had Ghost Rider in Midnight Suns. Mm-hmm. But again, I feel like what Ghost Rider does, which is be on fire and go fast and whip stuff with chains, is kind of antithetical to a turn-based strategy game,
Yes, 100%.
Give Criterion
that would
Ghost
be great.
Rider. Give me like Satanic Road Rash where I'm just going around and just like whipping dudes with
That's exactly where my brain was. I love it. Yes, I would love to see just Ghost Rider and Road Rash and just put it together. And Criterion throw a little Burnout love in there. Just like they've got the skills.
Burnout with skulls. I want it. But no, I think realistically speaking, the two big ones that kind of come to mind are Fantastic Four and Hulk. And Hulk has we've gotten some really, really good Hulk games over the years. I feel like there's definitely an audience for that. And in the same way that you look at what sort of how do you gamify a superhero, and it's like Hulk is pretty straightforward. Like you get that power fantasy side of things where you're throwing cars and jumping high and clapping really loud, and everyone's ears hurt. Yeah, and just jumping. You jump in the air, you do it with the butt slam like Mario. Does Hulk ever do that? Does Hulk ever just jump in the air and grab his legs and just put his
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen
a Marvel versus Capcom finisher, maybe.
Yeah. You're probably right. He probably has butt slammed somebody in Marvel versus Capcom.
Horrible. Just horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a Hulk Ultimate Destruction successor would be just lovely. It'd be so much fun to see that. And I don't know, where that's going to exist if it ever does, but I feel like that would kind of fill in the blanks of what we've got. Fantastic Four is, in the same way that the sort of the Blade movie is going to be, that movie is definitely ice skating uphill. But yeah, Fantastic Four, they've been sort of casting that. There's the writer strikes and the actor strikes, and it's like I feel like Fantastic Four is a ways off, and that again is one of those sort of Marvel properties that you don't want to screw up. But it's also pretty well suited to like a 4-player co-op situation. Or
give me a Marvel Ultimate Alliance style gameplay with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it wouldn't just be like, what was it called? Fuse? The Insomniac game? Published?
Yeah. They're one flop. That's their one blemish on their immaculate track record.
I think that squarely points at EA for just EAing it up. That was that period when everything EA put out had like carbon fiber on it. Mm-hmm. And like a little bit of like orange and turquoise, like everything was sort of going the Battlefield route, and like man, I just remember like Fuse was revealed as like Overstrike, and it looked so good and so gorgeous, and then they just completely shaved off all the funny cartoon sort of GI Joe Saturday morning energy to it, and made something that was just sort of like 4 people with slightly different gun powers doing shooting stuff, and it's like technically sound, but just also so hollow. Anyway, so that. But with the Thing, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, and Johnny Storm, there it is. I think it's fine. Yeah. What could go wrong? Just fuse with the Fantastic Four. No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a terrible idea. I don't know. Borderlands with Skrulls.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll do it.
Anyway,